This dining chair is still very much usable, but the seat in particular has definitely seen better days. Now, I don't know how old this is, but old enough for the previous owner to sell it for £8 each. To change out the cover, the first thing I have to do is to remove the seat part from the chair. There are screws on the underside, so let's flip this over. Okay, I'm not that weak. This is solid oak, which is heavy. I actually have 4 of these, and I may or may not have regretted walking these home during a hot summer's day. Anyway, with all the screws out, the seat part comes out rather neatly. This black cover, I believe, is called a dust cover, which is made from the fabric cambric. As the name suggests, it protects the chair from dust, but also hides everything that's going on under here to give it that professional look. I'm going to carefully remove the staples that's holding this down because I want to reuse this dust cover later. Now, there really is no easy way around it other than to remove all the staples one by one. What I found worked for me was that I used a flathead screwdriver to first lift the staples, then a pair of pliers to remove any remaining staples in the frame. Now this, I have to say, is very tedious, but I fairly quickly found a rhythm. I mean, look at that action. Okay, let's see what's under here. I must say I did not expect webbing. All the tutorials I've watched have a wooden board instead. Anyway, let's see what's going on with the cover. The number of staples on there, I mean, is that necessary? Well, I have 2 options here. Either I remove the old cover by first removing all the staples, or I leave the old cover on. Well, I'm gonna sit on that thought and move on to working on the new cover. For the new cover, you can normally just pick out which upholstery fabric you like, cut a piece out, and that's that. But I have been dying to find a use for these old jeans, and I honestly can't see a better use for them right now than for this chair. Out of all these options, I'm really only gravitated towards these black pair of jeans. However, it is 75% cotton, which means the rest is made out of stretchy materials, and I'm not sure stretchy is good for reupholstering. This here is 99% cotton, non-stretchy, but honestly not my colour of choice. Couldn't make my mind up. I even considered giving up and using some regular fabric that I have, but I feel like that completely defeats the original intention of using old jeans, so I eventually decided on these pair. The colour is not the best, but it's far less stretchy than the earlier pair. Now, jeans are designed and shaped for our body, not for a chair, so how is this going to work? Well, the key is to make the jeans as flat as possible, so that it basically can behave like a piece of fabric. You want to take a pair of scissors and open up the legs and waist. Let me show you. So for the legs, just cut away right next to the seam like this. Or you could also do it the long way by taking a seam ripper to open up the seams. It took a lot longer without any real advantages, so I would recommend just sticking to the scissors. Same for the front here, just cut this open on either side of the zip. I've always found it interesting to take things apart to see how they are put together. Like, did you know there's a curve at the crotch area of the jeans? Anyway, you want to flatten this like so. Again, I did this by cutting right next to the seam. I repeated this until this bit can overlap and lay smooth and flat over this piece underneath. As you've probably noticed, there's a big gap down here. Now, don't worry, I just measured how big the seat is, cut off the excess from the jeans and used that to patch up the gap. Now everything is ready, it's time for the sewing machine. At this point, a few of you are probably going to switch off because you've told me that you don't sew, but you don't have to sew if you don't want to. You can use things like fabric glue or tape. Or if you do decide to pick up a sewing needle for the first time, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, you might be surprised. Honestly, nothing can go that wrong with sewing, and it has allowed me to do so much, from mending clothes, which is where I started, to simple things like taking up the curtains, making cushion covers, and now this. Actually, none of them are difficult, but if nothing else, sewing gave me options in terms of cost, design, and materials, and in general helps me be less dependent on the mass-produced market where possible. Okay, so this is pretty much ready. Now, the only thing is, I didn't notice this before, but because these are jeans that have been worn, you can see here, it doesn't look very nice. There are 2 layers here, so I'm not worried that it will break, but just from an aesthetics point of view, I think I'll probably use some of those jeans over there and kind of patch it up somehow. I don't know, just to cover it up. So let's play around with it. Nothing fancy to show here. I took one of the back pockets from another pair of jeans and sewed it onto my new cover. I'm ready to test out my new tool, the staple gun. There are so many options out there at all sorts of price points, but all of them seem to have some bad reviews. So the reason I picked this one is because I think it was the cheapest one, and I've actually seen someone using it on YouTube, so I know at least what to expect. Admittedly, it was a video from the company that made this staple gun. Maybe that should have been a warning to me. I really struggled initially, and I put it down to this being my first time using a staple gun. But then I quickly realised maybe I shouldn't have gone for the cheapest staple gun. For some reason, after firing a few staples, it stopped firing. Now, this is not hard to use, but after firing it so many times and not getting anywhere, my hand was starting to hurt, it was red and shaky. I know what you're thinking, it's probably jammed. Well, it wasn't, but somehow reinserting the staples would make it work, for a few staples. Then have to keep opening it up and reinserting the staples. Now, maybe it was just bad luck, but nonetheless, made this so much longer than it should have taken. Ow, it's getting red. All in all, for my first time reupholstering though, it was super easy stapling this down, no problems with the corners, no problem with anything really other than the staple gun. So yeah, learn from my mistake. I'm super happy with how this turned out, even more happy that I was able to repurpose some of these old jeans that I have lying around. I will definitely be doing this again if the rest of the dining chairs need reupholstering. I would need more old jeans though. Fun fact, I haven't bought a pair of jeans for a few years because they just tear or become unwearable after a few years, which was getting frustrating. I think I need to invest in some good quality jeans, although I have no idea how to choose.